So with each and every fight he seems to be impressing us more and more, and I mean you can't deny he really is drumming up a serious highlight reel.
Tried to find an angle or two, Bullish backward in a straight line, inviting the trouble. He's brave, but he's completely outgunned. It has to be stopped quickly.
Now we are just 2.5 years into his career, having famously made his debut on the Baturba Bibbly Diddle vs Yard undercard, and well, it wasn't the most emphatic start with 2 out of his first 4 fights going the distance, plus they weren't exactly world level opponents, but remarkably since his 5th fight here he stands with 8 straight mega knockouts in a row and all within 2 rounds. Unbelievable stuff. I bet old Uncle Frank is rubbing his hands together, he's going, oh I fucking cracked it bruv, that's me pension sorted, lovely jubbly. But hang on, hold the phone. Let's just pull the brakes because it certainly ain't the first time we've seen the so-called next best thing in boxing blasting away lower level opposition in the first couple of rounds. And even if he blasts away the body snatcher, old Dillian Whyte, does that then answer the big question, is the hype real? Well, I made a video like this for Martin Bakole a while back, but to be honest that scenario was a lot different to this one because that was just Martin and Billy Nelson constantly telling the world that they were the next best thing. Yes, all the bollocks about oh he's avoiding me, nobody wants to smoke, I sparred Usyk and I hit him with a jab and he just exploded into little tiny pieces, he couldn't take the power, and it's like oh fuck off, you've made that all up bruv, we ain't thick. And yes, lo and behold he loses to Parker. Okay, we'll give him the benefit of the doubt because he came in late notice, but there's no excuse for drawing with a Jagba. Jagba's a good fighter, don't get me wrong, but the way Bakole's been talking, he should have beaten him handily, like Sanchez did. Anyway, as mentioned, we don't have this with Itauma, there's no bullshit coming out of his or Ben Davison's mouth, he's just letting his fists do the talking as they say, and yes, they really are talking.
He's trying to get his stance back, but Itauma, oh, that's it, won't recover from that, fight's done.
Yeah, and he isn't in a hurry. I want a step-by-step approach, he said. And that was a little open. And down the right hand he goes. Big stabilizer back since the start of this fight, and he cannot fend his man off, and the referee is going to stop it.
So making some comparisons, it really is quite impressive. I mean, Fraser Clark recently went the distance with Whack, and so has many others of course, but Itauma blew him away in just 2 rounds. And think of all the fighters that Whack has fought in his career, from Klitschko to White to Bakole, but he named Itauma as the most skillful that he's faced. And then we had Dempsey McKean, who gave Hrgovic a very long night, but Itauma absolutely annihilated him like he was a journeyman. That performance alone really was stunning because beforehand a lot of us, me included, thought McKean could give him some rounds and take him deep into the fight. I know that wouldn't be the first time I've talked a load of fucking bollocks, but still it wouldn't be fair for us afterwards to go oh yeah but McKean was never that good. No, he really was a solid fighter, and that was a massive statement. Now, on one hand, it's quite easy to get aboard the Itauma hype train, not just because he's demolishing all his opponents, but because this man has been crafted in boxing since the age of 9 years old. Even whilst at school from around 13 to 14 years old, he was sparring some of the biggest and best fighters in the world, the likes of Joe Joyce, Okoli, Dubious, AJ, and holding his own with all of them. So to get that level of experience that young and be good enough to hang with them as well means this ain't no average Joe that we're dealing with here. This is a fighter who is seriously talented, who obviously ain't going to be scared of anyone because he's been in the ring with the elite since a young age, and this is a fighter who always had the physical capabilities to compete with the big boys as well. I mean, you've only got to look at what he's benching to see how strong he is, 60 kg either side on 3 weights, fucking fair play. However, if we're going to be nitpicking, on the other hand, even though he's had that valuable experience in the gyms, on the amateur circuit he's only had a mere 24 fights in his teenage years. Granted, in them 24 he did claim gold medals at the schools, juniors, youth Europeans and the heavyweight youth world championships, but just in comparison to someone like Usyk, who managed over 300 amateur fights, and plenty of other heavyweights who racked up 100 or so, in a nutshell he may just be tailing a little bit in that regard. Don't get me wrong though, he was unbeaten in them 24 and 10 of them were first round knockouts as well, so clearly he was still fucking mustard. I'm just saying though, ultimately there's plenty of fighters knocking about now that have got bundles and bundles more in-ring experience from the amateurs. fighters. And the facts are, still to this day, this man has never been past 6 rounds. Or to put it better, he ain't been past 3 rounds against someone who's very decent. So when that day comes, and who knows, it may even come very soon in the Dillian Whyte fight, how is the young Chatham lad gonna deal with it? You know, to the eye test, how did he look in those 2 6-rounders that he went the distance in? Because that is all we've got to go on. I mean, did he look like he was getting a little bit frustrated? But just before we have a little look at that, we all have bad habits, but today's sponsor is on a mission taking the bad out of them habits. They are the leading alternative to vaping and smoking. Big it up for Fume. Now, I don't know if you know about the flavoured air movement, but Fume is an award-winning flavoured air device which has no vapour, meaning you can use it anywhere. It contains no nicotine, so it's not addictive, and it uses non-toxic flavours in its cores, making it a perfect guilt-free alternative. Plus, there's no batteries, no cables, and nothing to charge, which is a right result really, because don't they get on your bloody nerves, all them cables? Now, Fume is double clever because the flavours can mimic that throat hit without the need for actual vapour. By the by, I'm a big fan of the crisp mint flavour and the orange vanilla, them 2 are crackers, and also it's built with calming benefits, magnets and metals that snap and click for all you fidgeters out there. Terrific stuff. So join over 50,000 people who have replaced them bad habits with Fume, and if you order the journey pack using my code PROPER, you'll get a free Fume topper. Go to tryfume.com/proper or scan the QR code on screen to grab yours today.
And they're solid shots. You can hear them thudding into the body of Dogfish at any stage. He's never tried to force the stoppage. He's just gone through and done whatever the game plan is. Itauma continued to throw a high volume of punches in there. Oh, lovely boxing that was. On that back foot there. Big stuff. Lots of skills and natural talent Itauma's got. We've seen the full repertoire tonight.
So again, maybe it is just nitpicking and he weren't getting frustrated at all, but either way, as we all know, there's a monumental difference between being 6 rounds deep with a journeyman who's not really throwing back and being 6 rounds deep with an experienced top 10 who can switch your lights out at any second. Now, Team Moses had massive ambitions to get that Mike Tyson record, but in the end it was just unattainable due to, well, Usyk being about basically. He's fucked things up for everyone being so good, but to be fair, it's probably done Moses a right favour because now Queensberry can take their time and the genius matchmaker in Uncle Frank can guide him to the top without having to do anything too rash. Although, having said that, things are actually getting a bit rash because his name is being bandied about alongside Mr. Alexander Usyk, and apparently within the next year or so as well. I mean, okay, we can all agree he's past British level. It's hard to see him having any trouble with the likes of TKV or Adelaide or Fraser, for example, but saying he's a couple of fights away from potentially beating the Brit-bashing heavyweight king? Nah, surely everyone would agree that just ain't gonna happen. I mean, not that anyone gives a fuck what I think, but I don't see how you can go from Mike Bolognese, a football player turned boxer, then to an over-the-hill Dillian Whyte, who he's not even beat yet by the way, then maybe one more before landing on Usyk. You'd have to say he'd need much more experience against some top 10s or top 15s who are fresh or in their prime, and most importantly, who are going to give him rounds. Because best believe if he were to get in the ring with Usyk, there's only one place that fight's going, and that is into deep, deep waters. But come on, Frank knows this already, don't he? To be fair, this is more a double excellent turkey vision than Frank himself, and he's probably just playing along with the hype.
And it's like, he's in that position now where you go, you've got to start giving him those big names.
Look, Spence, I'm not in a race here.
Yeah.
Man's got a career.
And that was the conversation we had. That's exactly what I'm saying. I recognise that.
We have had conversations, but it's not a pissing contest. I'm guiding somebody's career and I've got to look after their career. And I've got to make the right moves with his management, Francis, my son, make the right moves at the right moment. You know, I'm not going to just do something just to prove anything to anybody. I don't need to do that. We'll do what we've got to do in our own time and our own fashion. Anybody in the heavyweight division, if he catches him, he'll do some damage. If he caught Usyk, he'd knock Usyk out. I generally believe that. But he needs a few more fights and a bit more development.
Mind you, let's not forget what Turkey wants, Turkey certainly gets. So as much as the natural progression should be nice and slow now, if the big money is on the table for that fight, then it's hard to see either party saying no. But hold up, we're talking like Itauma's already dealt with Dillian. We're getting way too ahead of ourselves in all honesty. I mean, this really is a mega interesting fight because at one time or another, Dillian really was a bit of a beast. If he is now or not remains to be seen, but either way, he sounds as game as ever.
Oh, Moses is getting Dillian at the right time. That's what I'm kind of getting at. People think you're done, really.
Yeah, that's right. And that's everyone's opinion, you know. You guys said it with so much confidence and so much bass in your voice and using your chest to say it. So yeah, it's great. You know, I don't want to hear nothing when he gets beaten. I don't want to hear, oh yeah, he's a kid, this and the other. No, I tell you to go yourself.
Now, I don't know about you, but personally, I'm yet to find anyone who thinks Dillian can actually win this fight. And obviously, I'm in that camp as well, but for me, it's not because I've been sucked into the massive Itauma hype train. It's more so because even though I think he was a brilliant fighter back in the day, I'm seeing Dillian as a shell of what he once was. But you know, hopefully we're being fooled by his last few performances against Franklin, Hammer and Tete. Hopefully he weren't up for them fights and the motivation was lacking, but this one he really is fully invested in. And hopefully he comes in fully fit, fully on the ball and all guns blazing, because then we'll see a fight. But yeah, should he replicate any of them performances in any way, it's easy to see the Itauma speed causing him all sorts of problems and eventually wiping him out. Very likely with an uppercut as well, because Dillian fucking loves them, doesn't he? Hopefully though, prior to that happening, it'd be good to see Itauma get a little bit of a chin check, because this is another major question we need answered, and because Dillian's working with Buddy McGirt now, who's an absolutely blinding trainer, that may well just happen. But I've got to be honest, I'm a bit confused by this.
Well, I'm going to be 1,000% honest with you. I've never seen Moses fight, so I really don't know what he's ready for.
I mean, I don't know what the crack is with that. Hopefully he's on a wind-up, because surely you'd want to see his fights to know what you're dealing with. And on the flip side, you know that Ben Davison's going to have watched untold hours of Dillian Whyte footage in preparation for this fight, because he loves a bit of the old analysis, old Benny boy. Anyway, only time will tell if the hype is real, but as mentioned, this ain't just some randomer who's on a good string of knockout wins. To have been sparring the big dog since the age of 13, this man is a born fighter and already looks to have superseded British level significantly. For me, I'd happily put good dollar on him being a world champion at some points. However, if that world title opportunity comes against Usyk, then in that case, I doubt he'll be walking away with the belt. Don't forget to join the thousands of people who have replaced them bad habits with Fume, and if you order the Journey Pack using my code PROPER, you'll get a free Fume topper. Go to tryfume.com/proper today or scan the QR code on screen to grab yours.